and we sent back some bytes to the client, which was all this stuff. This is nice to just be able to see what's the size of the things we're sending back and forth. Start getting your brain in that mode, just start being able to do that kind of intuitive calculations that, well, an object of this size is going to be about this much across the wire. You'd be surprised even in web dev how many times you don't realize you're sending back a meg of JSON. Alright, so we've got some more things to refactor, and I'm hoping that when we refactor them, we'll start to see a little bit more of our singleton at work, or maybe not. Maybe it's not doing what it's supposed to. So we'll see the good and the bad here. But I know that I've got another player in there called Beth. So if I log on with Beth, well, it finds her, that character, and it gives me back the room, but it doesn't show me anybody else. I don't really get any entrance or exit statements. There's kind of appear here. There's little things like if I say fight Gary, it's going. I hit like an exception, object reference not set to an object. So there's some things here that just aren't linking up properly, even though I can log in successfully. So see my async listener crashes. We're not going to be able to tackle all of the idiosyncrasies that go into making a client server. Hopefully what we're going to do is we're going to start getting some appreciation for how much work goes into hardening these things against the unknown, especially in terms of recovery of player information, assurances of packet delivery. There's quite a bit. So, but we're going to keep making it better. One little point of refactoring that I'm going to do is we've got this domain-centric organization going on. I stopped using the domain-driven design because we're not following all the tenets of that, but it is domain-centric. And that benefits us greatly when we start looking around into other projects and we start to see very familiar structures. So, excuse me. So, we made core early on and we didn't follow this quite that closely, so we're going to go ahead and just move this guy out and delete the model folder. Okay, so now this looks very similar to our other projects. Just going to build to make sure that everything still builds. When you do a move like that, all of our locations are still a little wonky, but we're just going to leave them as they are for right now. So you should be able to, and this is really helpful if you're got multiple people on your team and one person's responsible for the common project, somebody else responsible for the core project, and so on. So if I'm doing everything instead of monster, that's the greatest example. Yeah, I'm doing everything instead of player. I'm doing all these things. I come over to you and I say, hey, guy or gal who's working on the client, can I see how you're implementing this interface? I want to make a change to it. I just want to make sure I'm not going to step on any toes. It helps you out when you're coming over to see the structure that's very similar and say, okay, yeah, go into your player folder, and then go into player one. So you already know where you're going. It lowers level of effort required to onboard yourself to somebody else's work. Okay, let's start this up again. Let's start this guy. I'm going to log myself in. Okay, looks good. So the first thing that we want to look at is this. When I get hammer, why does it die? Or any error, right? We should at least be able to do some basic hardening. So let's go ahead and set, this is our setup project. Come back over to our command, our folders, go into server, and we'll go into our bin directory to debug. We're going to start that guy up so it's listening. Then we've got a render strategy, and I think this is where it's happening. I really can't be sure. But start that up. Type in Gary. So I know this works, but we see it that it comes back and it says, got some room content. Game objects are 8. So we've got 2 players here. We got a townsperson, a deputy, and a zombie, and 3 items. So let's drag our debug point up, then hit F11, and to draw the room. Oh, here we go. So we got back players, but let's have our room content where we have player. See, it's a carpenter. And it might be that the game state's not being set to as in play. Oh, nope, it is. So let's go right back up to this. Let's go and stop it there and really pull this guy apart, because it definitely seems like we should be getting something back, especially if we're getting our items back. So let's just see if one of these is not playing nicely. Alright, so it did not like us checking to see if the game state was in play. So I got that. Let's see, Groon's chat says, you could maybe fix the asynchronous enter first, set the client as startup project, and manually have the server run in the background, or just make both things start up. Yeah, I'm not actually, I could, and you could be right. I'm chasing a different rabbit right now in terms of where the bug could be. Mainly that object not set to an instance of a, or that the null object exception. Namely there, because the places where our code should fail are at the point of exposure. So we did the strategy pattern so that I write a parse strategy and a render strategy. And then on the HiveMind side, it's got a strategy as well to receive commands. Oh, I see. So Grun says that way you could be able to, or you should be able to keep the server running. You don't have to manually restart the server over and over and over again. I like his thinking. So let's tackle both those birds right now. I'll just run to the HiveMind and finish up this thought. So if I go into the core, to the engine, into the HiveMind, I'm going to scroll down to where I'm seeding this world. And inside of player create, inside of that factory, let's see what I'm actually doing. Okay, so I never explicitly set the type to in play. Unless I do it here. So let's go ahead and double check so we're not duplicating. Oh, nope, I do. That makes it even stranger. It is in play, but removing the check allows it to come up when this should be true. Alright, so that's a stumper right there. Let's leave that. Let's go back over to Grun's suggestion and let's fix the async listener to be a little more robust. And if we did our job right, I'm sorry, hang on. I can't let it go. Alright. If we did our job right, we should be able to do that at the calling layer. So let's go ahead and run this guy. And we will set that as a starter project. Alright, come over here, run the client. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, so when we're here, we just want to get a closer look at where that exception gets thrown. So git test hammer. And apologies, I thought it was in the server, but it's actually in the drawing of the status bar. So let's flip that around real fast. Now, here, saying that the collection was modified and enumeration may not execute, which is just a warning, right? And we accept that. Alright, so we'll get trapped there. Grun says